Hello my lovelies, Robbie here from Kickbackgarage. In this video it's all about the trunnions, the lambretta cable trunnions that is. Roll the intro!
Messing around with these cameras, batteries going flat.
Markerte det med regn. Alle sprang I lag og ville komme under tak. Ingen av oss merket at du hadde falt I frak. Hvorfor valgte du å dra? Hvem I faen kunne se den komme? Da høsten tok over, sa vi hadde brått la oss sommer.
Right, before I put this beauty together, this is getting the SST 265 engine in it. I want to run through all the most common trunnions, lambretta cable trunnions that are on the market at the moment. Come on, let's have a look. Right, I've used about a year to to blag, borrow, steal and buy all the trunnions, all the lambretta cable trunnions that are on the market at the moment. Now, my personal preference when it comes to swivels is the MB swivel. On this one we've got the beautifully looking BGM item in aluminium. The reason why I prefer the MB one is because it's metal. It's hard metal, and I've got a real pet hate for sloppy gears, especially if you're building a 5-speed gearbox. So I really do, as I say, prefer the MB myself. I am not really an MB fanboy, but that item there is just excellent. Or you could use the original type swivel. This one in particular is the Casa lambretta one. Is that the right way around, is it? Yes, it is. So the thing is, you want to watch here if you use the aluminium ones. I know there's a few different types on the market. JPP is that one of them. I think Target Lion have one. Is the fact that they will wear a little bit quicker, sort of depending on what sort of cable trunnion you're going for. So the cable trunnions that I've got hold of are the straight jackets by Mr. Super Ibar, Jamie Super Ibar. These have been out since 2016, and probably the first ones out with the top hat system. I'll show you that in a minute, but not probably. They were the first ones out in 2016, and then came both Oiltech and SIP with this top hat design. Two different materials there. We have these, which are the BGM. My camera angle is in a bit of a strange angle, isn't it? Yep, you've got the brass BGM, what they call oversize. I've got a set of standard BGM. Thanks to the boys at BGM for sending those to me for free, as did Mr. Oiltech. And it was actually BGM that sent the Super Ibar ones as well. Very nice. And I have got my all-time favourite here, which are the MB stainless steel, innit? Stainless steel items, the same as Oiltech, which are also stainless steel. And I've got this, I'm not 100% sure what it is. It's sort of as close as you can get to the original. I think it's Casa lambretta item, which is pretty much the same as the original. Right, let's run through the differences between these. We'll start with the Jamie Super Ibar. These are beautifully made in brass. The holes have a slight bevel on them, so that when you're trying to line up the cable, it should be easy to hit the top. As with the SIP and the Oiltech, when you fit these, they don't drop through. It's typical. It's like it's not going through the bevel on this. There's a bit of a burr on there, so it's not the they don't fit on the Casa Performance, the Casa lambretta swivel. Let's have a look what they'll do on the BGM. Yeah, they fit nicely on the let's angle it up. They fit nicely on the BGM in the holes there. I'm not sure what's going on with that swivel from Casa Lambretta. But they fit in there nicely. The good thing about this is, like on the original type, when you're fitting these, especially the one on the back with your tie bar, is that it'll drop down onto your case, and you sort of have to get a screwdriver under there to hold it up while you tighten down and thread the cable. So brilliant, brilliant design. Really well made little item this is. I do prefer brass over stainless. That being said, I have used the MB ones for like forever, really, before I started using the SIP one, which is I'm gonna come to now. The hex key itself in there uses a 3mm hex key, which you will find in every sort of normal standard set. The original type is 3.5, and they can be a bit of a pain to get hold of if you live in metric land. It's a bit of an oddball size that Innocenti used to use. The thread itself is 6mm, which is nice. So 3mm key, and 6mm thread, and the spanner that you use to hold the top while you tighten them down is a 12mm spanner. So that's that one. Then we'll have a look at the SIP. Oh, what I forgot to mention about these, they come with a little lead ball. So when you tighten down the set screw, the lead ball will deform and hold the cable. Hopefully, I'm sort of thinking that maybe these are going to be deforming the cable less, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a cable on the engine block here, and I'm going to see how much they deform the cables, because that's something that's interesting. From time to time, you do need to loosen those cables. On the worst trunnions, your cable is so buggered you have to replace it. So hopefully this should be the best for that. We'll test that. Here we've got the SIP ones. I'm not sure what they're made out of. I think they're just some sort of steel and coloured black. They've got this flat on the top. You use a 10mm spanner on there, and the hex key is 4mm. Where's that? It's there. It's a 4mm hex key on this one. Also, sort of a standard size is to get hold of. These got a little brass crusher that you fit in there, which is good. So it shouldn't deform the cables. And we'll give those a test as well afterwards. Oiltech, beautifully made stainless steel. They've got a different sort of approach on this one. They've still got the top hat, the same as what the SIP has got. Interesting. I reckon the SIP haven't done their research when it comes to fitting these, but I'll talk about that in a minute. This is obviously adjacent to the motor, the flat. This one uses, incidentally, a 10mm spanner, which is something that you've normally got in your Lambretta toolkit. You've got this little, it looks like a stainless steel disc to me, to stop your cable deforming. They also use 6mm thread, which is good. I'll tell you why in a little moment. And on this, it's I think we're back to the original 3.5mm hex key. But the nice thing about the Oiltech ones is they actually come with this when you buy it in the packet there. Now this is the BGM oversize. Now this is a bit of an oddball actually. The reason why it's an oddball is if you find that you have got a worn original swivel, then you can use these, because these are actually oversized. They won't fit in your new swivel. So that's sort of we're gonna say. So if you don't fancy changing out your swivel and your trunnions, you can buy these trunnions and keep your original swivel, and still get the nice tight gear feeling there. These are made out of brass, which, as you know, I prefer. They are what size hex key do they use? They use 4mm hex key, and they have 8mm thread, and they use a 10mm spanner, which is also a normal spanner size that you've got with you on your scooter. And now we've got the original type BGM trunnion. All these are a little bit longer than the original type. You can see that it's a bit longer. I think the reason for that mainly is they've done a little bit of thought here. This hasn't got the top hat, so this is supposed to keep that original sort of look. Nice thing is the flat is tall enough so that you don't round it off with your spanner. These also come with a disc. This one is in brass, very nice. So that should also stop your cables from being deformed. What did I say? Is it a 4mm? It's a 4mm and a 8mm thread. Did I say something? Did I tell you about the SIP ones? It's a 7mm thread. Just keep note of that. And then we've got this Casa Lambretta one, which is sort of an exact replica of the original type trunnion. This uses, it actually uses 4mm hex, which is nice, so you don't have to use the silly 3.5mm. It has no disc in there, and there's a bit of a bevel down there as well. So I reckon when you fit these, you're going to wreck your cable. But we'll give that a test. Also, they've stuck with the original sort of height on the spanner flat here, which is actually a 9mm spanner, which is nothing. I've got, at least. I've got one here, but I don't have that on my scooter. I'm not quite sure where else you'd use that. So that's another tool you have to take with you. But there wasn't a disc in this, which is a bit disappointing, I reckon. But this obviously fits nice and snug in your new swivel. So what I thought I would do now is fit them one at a time, thread a cable through here, through the swivel, and tighten down the cable and see how much they deform the cable. And talk a little bit more in depth about these different trunnions, Rob, trunnions. Okay, get to it. Right, I'm going to do this in no particular order. I'm going to just throw the trunnions around on the floor first. I'm going to take an Oiltech one and the steel disc that it comes with. And let's see how easy these are to fit. Now, the beauty of the Oiltech one is the fact that these have been thought out. The hole for the cable is on the side of the flats. So when you fit these, first off, they don't drop through. Secondly, let's have a see how that goes. Yep, secondly, very easy to thread the cable, because you've got the chamfer on the side there. Thirdly, they use a 10mm spanner, very nice. So fit the cable, fit the crush disc there, and I'm going to fit the hex key. Now, the reason why I've been banging on about the size of the thread is if you need to adjust your cable for some reason at the side of the road and you lose your set screw, Oiltech use 6mm thread, and a 6mm bolt is a lot easier to find than a 7mm one. 7mm is completely obsolete, really. So if you're using one of the others who've got a 7mm thread, then I'd suggest taking finding a new set screw or a spare set screw or a normal screw so that you can get yourself out of an emergency. But with a 6mm, it's going to be a lot easier. So I'm going to tighten this down, see how it works. Really nice angle on the flats. If you've noticed, this is going to be really easy to get to, even the one on the back there, with your engine in the frame. So I've tightened that down. Quite hard actually. There we go. And as you can see, nice one, Oiltech. The cable isn't really showing any form of deformation. So if I need to retighten this and I accidentally pull it out, will I be able to get it in again? So let's take this out. Take out the wire. Oh, it's nicely. It's deformed, but it's not damaged. So this should be really easy to get in again. So if you was adjusting by the road and you pull it out, there you go. No problem whatsoever. So yeah, top marks there for the Oiltech item. Right, so the next one on the list is these lambretta straight jackets by Jamie Super Eyebar. Beautifully made bit of kit. These are handmade by some bloke in Spain. The holes have a slight chamfer, so it should be quite easy to fit these into the cable into the trunnion. One thing you've got to note here is like the direction of the holes, because the top there is completely square. So I fit that in, ease the cable in. Yeah, went in really easy. So this should be also an easy job with the engine in situ. You've got this little lead pellet or ball, which you put on the top of the cable, like so. One thing to note about this, it's also, I think, let me just double check. The thread is 6mm, so standard 6mm thread, which is something I like. And the spanner head size, 12mm. 12mm, easy to get hold of. I don't really use that anywhere else in a lambretta, so that's something to remember if you're taking your scooter on long trips. Let's see how this lead ball works compared to the steel disc on the Oiltech ones. Well, when I tighten it down to about the same pressure, you can see the cable has some slight deformation on there. So let's loosen those and see if we can get it back in again. Loosen it up. It sort of sticks to the lead ball a little bit, but I can certainly move it around. There is some more crimping on there than on the Oiltech one, but it's not a disaster. You should be able to. Can I push it all the way through? No. Yes, I can. With a bit of persuasion, I could get it through in case of adjustment there. So not quite as good as the Oiltech ones for a cable adjustment, but yeah, still a really nice, well thought out product. I like the fact that you can hold the spanner adjacent to the motor. So like especially on Series 3s, some of them, the trunnions are on the side like this, and they're a bit of a pain to get to. So let's have a look at the next one. So what I'm going to talk about now is the SIP ones. The hole is really deep, and if you fit the crush disc, it's actually parallel. It makes the trunnion parallel to the hole. So I think the only chance that you're going to get this cable not to crimp is actually by fitting the disc at the bottom of the hole there. I can try both ways, but I know how that's going to end up. But because it fits exactly flush with that at the bottom, I think I'm going to try it that way. One thing that's a bit annoying about these SIP ones, although the idea is sort of a good one, is the fact that the flats for the spanner they run horizontal to the engine. So if you've got, especially on a Series 3, where your frame strut is not removable, or your footboard strut is not removable, then they're a bit of a pain to get to. Now, I'll throw a link at the bottom of the video. K2 Customs in the UK, they make a nice little spanner. I'll throw up a picture of that here, where you can actually hold these trunnions at the side of the engine, like you would with the other trunnion what's-my-jigs. But for the sake of this, I'm just using a normal spanner, which is not really that well thought out, to be honest. And this uses a 4mm rod, so you need a 4mm spanner, hex key, sorry. I'm just going to thread it in, hold that with my 10mm, which is, I think, is a better size because that's something we've got. See how easy it is to thread through here. It's not that easy because there isn't a chamfer on the hole there. So I'll thread that through, tighten it down. Let's see how much of a kink we end up with here, because the screw is actually pressing against the cable. Oh, terrible. Yeah, you can see a really, really big kink there. And the screw goes quite far down in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this off again, and I'm going to try and fit it with the little brass disc on the top of the trunnion. I really don't think that's going to improve matters. It's completely crushed and killed my cable. Take that out again, take out the disc, fit it again. Bit tricky to get it through the hole, to tell you the truth. There you go, I have to give it a good tug to get it through. Right, now we'll try the disc on the top. And I think this is going to be, actually going to be worse, because of the fact, and it's so deep, the hole in there, that the disc doesn't fit flat on the top of the wire. So, yeah, and it just drops underneath the cable again. So however you fit these SIP trunnions, you're going to end up with a buggered wire. And the fact that I couldn't manage to get that disc to sit on the top tells me that they've had a bit of a design problem there. The hole is just so deep in there that it's just impossible to fit the disc on top of the wire where it really should be. So the next one of the bunch, I'm just going to have to cheat a little bit here, is the BGM oversize. I obviously can't fit those, but these are in case you've got an oversized swivel. They come with a brass disc. So the hole also chamfered, so it will be easy to hit the hole. I have to just push it through where the SIP killed the wire. I'm going to have to cut this again. And you fit the disc. Disc fits nicely on top there, by the way. Unfortunately, it uses a 9mm spanner, which is also one of those things that can be quite hard to find. They don't come in normal sets. And as you see, the flats on the trunnion also facing the... This is a 4mm hex key, so a size that comes in all normal kits. And I'm going to give this a good tighten down. See how much... Oh dear. Yeah, the problem here is that the hole, when the hole has been drilled, it's been drilled at such a depth that it's completely destroyed this cable. Now we're on to the standard BGM type trunnion. Problem being here compared to the ones with the top hat is, although it is quite a nice fit there, so if you're lucky, it sort of won't drop down too far in there. Now, one thing I can see straight away is that the hole is chamfered, which is very nice, makes it easy to thread the cable. But the bottom of the drill in there looks like it's pretty chamfered, like they've used a normal drill or something. So I'm going to fit the disc first just to see if that's possible. And I don't think that's going to go through there. No, so this is definitely a disc on the top, jobby. Really easy to thread, by the way, that one. Fit the disc. There you go. The disc has decided to drop on its side in there, which is a bit annoying. So good luck with that. The disc seems a little skinny or slightly undersized. So once I fit the cable, I'm having trouble trying to drop the disc in straight. There you go. I got it to work now, but that's going to be really fiddly when you've got your engine in the scooter, and definitely the one on the back here. That's not 3.5; it's a 4mm rod. There you go. Nice. And I think this also uses my favourite 9mm spanner, which is not good. And we'll tighten it up and see what happens. So there you go, I've got a bit of a kink in the wire. It's not the worst one to date, but see if I can adjust this after I've tightened it down. Let's see if I can readjust it. So if I need to move the cable, I have to give it a bit of a tug there, seems. Let me lift that up. No, you're okay, but it did destroy the cable. So I've clipped my cable, ready for trunnion from MB Scooters. This one, incidentally, uses an 8mm flat, which I reckon is much more sensible than using a 9mm spanner, because an 8mm is something I've got on my scooter. This comes with stainless steel disc. This one is quite chunky compared to the BGM one and the one that came with the Oiltech one. So let's give this a go. Obviously, you're going to have to, when you're putting it at the back here, you're going to have to do the trick of trying to hold it up with a screwdriver or something. One point to note here is MB have certainly done their homework as to which way the flat should point. Very, very nice. See if I can get it through the hole. It's actually been a pain to thread. There you go. It's alright. It's alright. It's not the end of the world. And we'll try this chunky disc. Nice thing about the chunky disc, that just pops straight on top of the cable there, so you're not going to have to have the same problem that I had with the BGM one. Fit the set screw, 3mm hex key. Shit, what's going on here? So that's the MB fit, the way that I imagine it's supposed to fit. And you can see the cable is kinked at quite an abrupt angle at the front of the wire here. So it actually restricts the movement of the actual swivelly bit when you change gears, which is a bit of a pain. Nice thing about this though is the fact that they have the flats in the correct orientation, so it makes it easier to tighten up. But what I'm going to do is have a look at this trunnion and see if I can fit the disc underneath the hole to prevent that kinking. Oh, and that one is totally destroyed. Yeah, no, it's so thick that it's not going on the top of the hole actually. So my all-time favorite, the MB trunnions, they are actually one of the worst when it comes to kinking the cables. Last but not least, we've got this original type one I got from Casa Lambretta. There's no disc in this, so I'm not really expecting wonders, to tell you the truth. The flat is, I think, in the original orientation, which is adjacent to the engine or horizontally to the engine. I'm actually having problems. There you go. Trying to feed that in there. Cable went straight through. That's a good sign. 3.5mm hex key. Also, 9mm spanner, 3.5mm hex key, hard to find. Horizontal with the engine, so pain to get to. We'll tighten it down and see what this does. I think we all knew what it was going to do. And as you can see here, it kinks the wire so much it actually restricts the movement of the trunnion itself. So that's definitely wouldn't be using that on my scooter any day soon. Let's have a look what it looks like. And if you're going to move this around, it's completely, I think you're pretty buggered if you need to adjust your cable on the roadside. There you go. Yep. That's certainly destroyed it. Right, my lovelies, I think it's pretty easy to say that the Oiltech trunnions, were the best of the bunch there. Very well designed, really easy to fit. The fact that you can hold the spanner properly when you're fitting them as well is very good. If anything, I'd like to make these like sort of 110% perfect. At the moment, they're a 10 out of 10. I'd love to give them an 11 out of 10 if they were actually made in brass, which I think are a bit more kinder on your swivels. Second, we've definitely got to give a shout out to the Jamie Ibar ones. They're really, really well made, just as well made as the Oiltech ones. Unfortunately, get a little bit of a kink in the cable on those, but they are made of brass again, so that's another plus. So it's up to you what you choose, but for me at the time being, definitely going to be the Oiltechs I'm going to be fitting in the future. Now, in the next video, we should be fitting this engine into the DL over there, and I've got a Casa disc I need to fit, so the next series of videos will be all concentrating on trying to get this thing on the road before winter turns up, so I can get a test drive. Ooh, it's going to be really exciting and scary as well at the same time. Anyway, thanks for joining me. And if you want to support the channel, don't forget you can buy the old merch, or you could simply buy me a coffee, and I'll see you all in the next one. Ta-ra!